If I can have your attention here in the Media Center, we'll continue on with today's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series media availability, and we're joined by Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 M&M's Halloween Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. That is one awesome helmet you have there. Could you please describe what you have going on?
Yeah, sure. It's one-of-a-kind piece. There's only going to be one made. It's designed by Jason Beam and myself, and sort of the Halloween theme, a little bit of Frankenstein action going on with, obviously Frankenstein there kind of has my dress up for Halloween of who I would be this year. That's it. And a lot of details, a lot of fine details, a lot of cool stuff going on here. Moon up front, witch across the moon, and sort of the castle theme up on the top of the hill with the graveyard underneath, and all kinds of really, really cool things that we implemented into this helmet. Threw a little color in there with the orange, with the windows and the jack-o'-lanterns and stuff like that too. So obviously I want to thank M&M's for giving me the opportunity to have a paint out of my helmet for instance. And what's actually really, really cool about this is I'll be wearing it this weekend in Kansas with the Halloween car. I'll be wearing it next weekend in Martinsville with the Halloween car. And we'll also be doing a raffle to win this one-of-a-kind helmet for the Kyle Busch Foundation. So we'll have the raffle up live, should be now, but if not, everybody can go to kylebuschfoundation.org. There's also links to it on my website, kylebusch.com, and tickets will be $18, and we're going to cap the tickets at $2,000, so everybody knows what their odds are in winning, and being able to have a piece of history here, and a really, really, really cool piece of art from Jason Beam. So appreciate Beam doing that and getting it to us here for this weekend, and M&M's for allowing me to wear it.
That's there. Be sure Frankenstein says cheese. We'll start here with Holly, and then we'll go to Todd, and then to Bob.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Kyle, if you could just kind of talk about the situation this weekend in terms of what you need to do. There's 3 champions that are kind of all right there on the bubble of moving into the 8 drivers, and also the weather forecast is for craziness a little bit tomorrow, and certainly a lot cooler on Sunday when you race. And how do you guys kind of deal with that?
Yeah, challenging aspects all through the weekend. So that's what makes it intense and a bit unpredictable, if you will. So hopefully, the speed that we've shown so far this weekend in our M&M's Camry has been pretty good. I would love to make sure that we're one of the guys that's moving on, one of the top 8 to the next round of the playoffs. We've done our job all this year to build our points up and do the best possible job that we know how to do. And because you always know that you're supposed to build that point cushion for Talladega. As crazy as it is in this world, we all plan for one race to knock us out of the playoffs, and it seems like that's going to be the race that's going to knock us out again. But we'll have to fight through it here this weekend in Kansas and do our best to get enough points that we can outdo the 2 guys that are in front of us if nobody else has trouble, and go from there.
Todd?
2 questions. First, 5-6 years ago, when you were still trying to figure out this track, how uncomfortable would it be to come here knowing you needed a win or a performance like to advance? And then could you also just talk about, I think it was at 14 when you guys rebuilt the car and basically just restarted from scratch with what you wanted to do here, and can you just talk about that process?
Just the fact of the matter is we come here now off of a few strong runs and having the opportunity to continue that. We've won a race here the last couple. We finished 4th here, I think, in the spring or something like that. We've been able to kind of turn our Kansas fortunes around, so we'd love to be able to keep that going. Who knows? So far this weekend, it's car's got really good speed. It's really fast. It doesn't quite feel great, but we'll work on that more tomorrow. It's just all about getting that one lap today and qualifying and starting up front. And as far as building our cars, redoing all that stuff, it's a process that goes on for months, sometimes years at a time, and our guys did a phenomenal job of being able to do that, and we're still doing that. We're still evolving. I think this sport is just kind of like that. I heard it this morning on the F1 broadcast. It's amazing how much evolution goes into their cars throughout a season, and it seems kind of like that's what's going on with us.
We'll go to Bob, then to Claire, then to Randy.
Bob Parker, ESPN. Do you have any thoughts of how many stage points you would need that would make you possibly feel good, or that you would control your own destiny in the final stage?
No. It's just, as far as I look at it, I guess I look at it as out finishing the 48 and the 21 by 3-4 spots each stage, each round, in order to make up enough points to pass them both. So whether that's doable or not, we'll see. We'll certainly try. We'll fight hard and hopefully run up front all day long to make sure that we do that. We've done that this year. We did that here in the spring. So we just need to back it up and do it again when it's crunch time.
Claire Beeline, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. A lot of things are out of your control, but some things are in your control. As you look at it, do you think you're best positioned to kind of keep cool through all this, to not get frustrated, and to, be the best of who you are, to be able to run this race and do what you can in order to make it happen?
I think I missed the question.
Well, the question is, do you think that you get frustrated less often? It seems like you're as in control as ever, that you're really well positioned not only to get through this, but win a championship. You're right on the edge of it now. The question is, do you feel like you're as positioned as ever to do that?
I feel like I wouldn't be worried about this if I didn't have Charlotte or Talladega happen, but that's not the situation we're in. So, we've just got to do a good job. This is our first homestead of this year. We've got to come through this race. It's not a must win, but it is a must perform. We've got to do everything right in order to go out there and be the top guy all day out of the 4 legitimate candidates that are fighting for the 2 spots available. So we've just got to concentrate on that and make sure that we can get it done.
Randy?
Hey, Kyle. Randy Kovitz, Kansas City Star, USA Today also. Yeah, you talk about just finishing ahead, making sure you're ahead of a couple of these guys. You always want to win. That's your guarantee. So how do you balance winning this thing so there's no doubt about it, as opposed to just making sure you're ahead of 2 or 3 other guys?
Well, first and foremost, we come to each and every weekend wanting to win. The realisticness of that, I think my percentage of winning in this sport's about 9.5 or 10 or 11 or something like that. So it's not very good. So we've got to go out there and just perform and know that we need a win. A win would make everything easy. But from there, you got to focus on what other things that you need to do throughout the day. And those other things are to outperform the 20, the 21, as well as the 48. And if you're ahead of those 3 guys, more importantly, you'll have the chance to move on.
Additional questions for Kyle? We'll go to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Johnny Sauter put some laps on the crate engine at Talladega. Did you get any feedback for that, and how do you feel about...
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Johnny Sauter put some laps on the crate engine last week at Talladega.
Okay,
Kind of tested the spec engine. How do you feel about that, being a truck owner?
Okay. Have at it. I don't know. It's the route they're going. So it's coming. As far as right now, I'm a true proponent in having identity within the series, being it with engines as well as bodies, with Toyota, Chevy, and Ford. Obviously, the Ford brigade's gotten thinner over the last few years. Brad was the one that was keeping it what it was, and now that's kind of gone. So, they're trying to make it more affordable for all the owners, and I guess I appreciate that. So we'll just, if it comes to where it's a necessity that we have to run it, then we've got to make that decision at a later time. But right now we're sticking with our guns and what we've been able to do, and that's to maintain our identity with a with a Toyota body and a Toyota engine.
Go next to Dustin, then back to Todd.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. At the beginning of the year with this different format with the stage and playoff points, is this kind of how you anticipated it could work out, in the sense of it gives you another opportunity to advance other than in the previous years where you would have just absolutely probably had to have won this race?
Yeah, no doubt. I still, I reiterate the fact that it sucks that you work all year long in order to build your point cushion and your stage points and your race wins and everything for Talladega, because everybody knows for Talladega, we're all building that for. And then I have Charlotte happen, so unfortunately it's my fault that we had Charlotte happen, but if we would have finished 8th, let's say, at Charlotte, we wouldn't be talking about it. You know, we would have used up our point cushion that we had at Talladega like we built it for. But what's crazy is you can't have a mistake on your own. I made a mistake at Charlotte, and we can't have that mistake on your own. You have mistakes brought to you on part by others at Talladega that wreck the entire field, and that's your championship, you know. So we still have a chance. We're still open. We're still viable. We still can come through here and win, or finish second in every round and hopefully advance. We'll see. So we just got to race it out.
Is this, as long as Talladega stays in the playoffs, and you have to build for that, is this the best scenario is to have these stage in the playoff points to give you guys the opportunity to have cushion so you still have this additional opportunity? Or
Yes.
is there something else?
Short answer, yes. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that the point scenario that we have helps the situation of the 78 car that he had last year of as strong as he was and blowing up. Helps William Byron for as strong as he was in the Truck Series and blowing up at Phoenix and eliminating him in one race. I mean, that's what this point structure's been for, and I think is helpful, and I think it's fair. You know, we just had 2 bad races in a row, so that's the shortcoming of it.
Glad you mentioned William, because I wanted to ask you about him. What did you see in him, and I mean, his trajectory, as fast as he's coming, and now that he's going to be in the Cup Series next year, I mean, what's impressive about that kid, and what's it going to be like seeing a guy who was riding for you in trucks, 2-3 years ago, maybe door to door with you next year?
I think it's really impressive just for the fact of how short of a career he's had so far in racing. You know, it reminds me a lot of myself. I started when I was 13. 13 was my first year of being able to be a race car driver or race competitively on the racetrack. Of course, I drove go-karts and things like that before that, but never raced, you know, and so being able to do that in Legends cars and late models and modifieds and trucks and everything else. William's just like me. It seems as though he works really hard at it. You got to give it credit where credit's due. He works really hard for it. He wants it. He's done a really good job of making the most of his opportunities that he's been given, because he's been smart and being in good stuff all the way up through the ladder. And he's had a great following behind him that's been able to push him that way with his dad and with Liberty University. So, you know, that's what it takes in this business, is sponsors like that to help young drivers like that are good, to elevate them, to move them to the next level. And I think what's probably most impressive isn't William Byron's success that he's had. It's that he's had a sponsor since the beginning in a sport, in a day and an age that sponsors are hard to find. So I think that's what's most intriguing.
Well, Kyle, thanks for taking the time to join us today. Thanks for the things you're doing with the helmet and the foundation, and good luck this weekend.
Right on. Thanks.